Where you from?
I'm from New York.
New York in the building.
Yeah.
So I see you here at the Diddy trial. What sparked your interest in this case?
To be honest, I wanted to make sure that there was actual real justice that was going to be prevailing. Anytime that there's a powerful black man that's on trial, I always want to make sure that it's legit.
Right, right. And how many days have you been at this case? This is my first day seeing you, by the way.
Second day.
Second day? Okay, so you're just getting in. And I will tell you, when I came in, I too was like, they can't do a black man like this. This is a one-man RICO. Where all the white people at? You know, where all the white people in Lil Rod's civil lawsuit? They need to be right here too, you know?
Right, right.
So I like that you think objectively because that's what I do too. And just hearing all the testimony and knowing what you know, and you're an advocate, and you know here in America we say believe women, right?
Right.
So are you conflicted?
I'm not. It's not that I'm conflicted. I'm not conflicted on the actual testimony that's except for today because that lady lying. But I'm not conflicted on the testimony so far. I'm just conflicted on the charges.
So what makes you think that she's lying? And then we'll get to the charges.
Every time that she's lying, she says the same exact thing. I don't remember. But when the prosecution was questioning her, she remembered everything. She would say X, Y, and Z. This happened, this and that.
Like when they was bringing up text messages and asking about dates, she'd be like, I don't remember that date, but it seems like I would write that. I don't remember the exact date, but then she would look at it and say, yeah, I did write that.
That happened maybe twice. Yeah.
Right. So I personally haven't seen her say a bunch of I don't recall or I don't remember. And if she did say it, it was like, I don't remember that date. And then when they show her it, she'd be like, oh yeah, now I remember it.
Yeah, but for example, he said, isn't it true that before June 2024, you didn't tell anybody about these alleged sexual assaults? Mm-hmm. She said, I don't remember. How do you not remember that? Then he said, isn't it true that you went to weddings and you went to vacations and you went to birthday parties? She said, maybe 2 weddings. Mm-hmm. What about the birthday parties and the vacations? I don't remember. Maybe a vacation, maybe 2 vacations. I can remember how many vacations I went on in 5 years.
Really?
If I went or not.
If you work with Diddy and this man is on top of the world.
No, I don't mean vacations with him. He was talking about vacations with her personal family and weddings with her personal family and birthday parties. Mm-hmm. How you don't remember if you went on to a birthday party for a loved one?
Right, so she did say she had to beg to go to her grandfather's funeral, and they was trying to get pictures in of her spending time with family. They was not able to get it in. So we don't know how many times or how many different instances those pictures are correlated to because we haven't seen them, right?
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
So do you
but
also
how could she not remember?
Do you also, I don't think do you also remember her saying that even though she went and spent time with her family and friends, she still felt like she was going along with this script? As if, you know.
I'm a business owner, man. I got people who work for me 24 hours too.
24 hours?
Yes, I got people who work for me. Just like she's saying, oh, I was always on his beck and call. So are my people. Even when they're on quote unquote vacation, you're on vacation. You're with your family. I want to go to weekend for the wedding. But if I need something, I might have to call you. I'm not trying to call you as much, or I may not call you at all. I'll try my best. But if I need you, I need you, and that's the understanding. That's how businesses work. Mm-hmm. So for her to try to make it like, oh, I was just a slave, a work slave, then quit. And when she did get fired, she said she wanted to kill herself. But if the job is so bad, then I don't understand. You should be relieved about being fired.
Well, let me ask you this question, then I'm going to segue into that. Do you think Diddy would have pulled the Cassie or been able to do anything if he did not have his wealth and his power in Hollywood? Do you think he would have remotely been able to do any of this?
Yes, 100%, because he was doing it before he got his power. These stories about Diddy, this is not because he's rich. He's rich because he's always been like that. He's always, if you look back when he was at Howard throwing those parties, the Diddy parties existed.
Well, you know that's the first time he really intermingled with black people, specifically black women.
Yes, 100%.
So,
yes, so he's always been like this. He's always been abusive. He's always been, if I want it, I'm gonna get it. He's always been like that, and that's the reason why he got to as powerful that he got. Mm-hmm. It's not the opposite. It's not like all of a sudden he got this power and it corrupted him. He was corrupt from the beginning.
And he went to a Catholic school, and two of the deans
So
that
they
were
say that he might have got touched.
essayed and touched.
Yeah.
And so
But we ain't gonna give him that excuse.
we're not gonna give it to
Just
him.
like we don't give Cassidy excuses.
Right.
Everybody makes their choices. I ain't giving them that excuse. Okay, that happened. It's very bad, and I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm not giving R. Kelly the excuse because he was raped when he was a child. Grape, sorry. He was raped when he was a child. I'm not giving any of them the excuse because when we get older, we have our own decisions that we need to make.
Yeah, and that's big of you, and I think everybody should have that mindset. But so many people go through trauma and PTSD and get stuck, right?
That's correct.
So with that said, do you feel like you haven't been here, but there's strikingly similar allegations and linear stories coming out between all of these people that's testified?
I think that's the problem with the prosecution. So here what I'm saying. Now, I haven't been here the other 2 weeks because I just got back. I was on vacation. But I've been following the transcripts. So I've been reading on everything. And that's the problem with the prosecution. You're just having people say the same stories. We already believed Cassie. So put in a bunch of people that are corroborating Cassie's stories is actually a waste of time.
Really? Okay.
Because if you believe the first witness, you don't need 5 more witnesses to say what the first witness said is true.
Well, the thing is like if we believe Cassie if we believe Cassie about Kid Cudi car blowing up, they would need to call.
Get it on fire. It didn't blow up.
Caught on fire and break in. Then they would need to call Kid Cudi to come and testify to actually make that a fact. It's just a factual allegation.
Correct.
For Cassie to say it. So
correct.
That's what I see. And then, well, you wasn't here, but I've seen during David James and George Kaplan, the defense even opened it up to where they can substantiate predicate acts for racketeering. For instance, Diddy's own lawyer opened it up to where George Kaplan was testifying and saying that he would go to Western Union and pick up money from Combs Enterprise to him, and Diddy would put prescription pills in these people's names and use them like they were mules and all of this other stuff.
But that's not drug trafficking.
That's not trafficking?
Yeah, trafficking, you got to be selling drugs, right? If you're buying drugs, that's like a mule.
I didn't say that about the trafficking.
But I'm saying
drugs.
that's not a predicate act.
Right, no, that's not a predicate act, but I say that to say that beyond the scope of the predicate acts that they're looking for, there's linear storylines coming. It's almost like you said, Diddy's always been this way.
Right.
So Harvey Weinstein has been this way. And so
big difference between the two.
It's a big difference, but the main difference is they don't see no harm or wrong in what they did.
Correct.
Now, we both can agree that Diddy did some bad things, but do he deserve a RICO is the question in this case, right?
Now, yeah, and I want to get to the bad things, and he deserves punishment for the bad things, because I hear about that all the time.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, if he went for domestic violence, that video that we saw of Cassie, if he had pled guilty, he would have got less than a year. A maximum sentence in California for a domestic violence beating up your girlfriend is a year.
Right.
He's done already over a year in a prison.
Right.
That would have been a year in jail in California state jail. Now, how much more do people want him to serve for the beating?
Right.
For domestic violence. If the law has already said a year, and people say he got to go under the jail, we got to crucify him. I just don't understand, because I feel like people want justice until it's not what they want.
Right.
Then it's when it's what they want, to hell with justice, and we just want him to be buried under the jail for beating up Cassie. If you beat up your girlfriend in California and you get convicted, the maximum sentence is 1 year. So my question is, how much more do people want him to do?
Right. So
Life?
With everything that you said, and I'm assuming you read Cassie's transcript, you read all of that.
Yeah.
As a business owner and a businessman, you had time to go through 4,000-5,000 pages of transcript.
Yeah, I know I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Bravo, bro.
No, I didn't. I didn't read it. I listened to it.
You listened to? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's different. On like 2 times the speed or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I do.
And what I saw from Cassie's transcript, just going there, and then we could get to the RICO charge. But what I saw from Cassie's transcript is that it seemed to me that the prosecution kept trying to get her to say, I did freak offs because I felt like I was going to get beat because he said I was going to get beat if I didn't. I'm going to give you an example because I memorized it from the transcript, roughly. They said, and then you did the freak off? And then she said, yes. And then they said, and you wanted to do the freak off? And she said, no. And then they said, then why did you do the freak off? And she said, to make Sean happy. And then they said, Why did you need to make him happy? And then she said something like, because I didn't like when he got upset or angry. What happens when he gets angry? I don't know. There's a lot of things that could get
Right,
angry.
and one thing we continue to hear from multiple witnesses is that he would take away her opportunity. He wouldn't put out music. He wouldn't do.
Absolutely.
Don't you think that?
But you can't do an underlining. Sorry to cut you,
No,
if
go
you
ahead,
don't
go
mind. You can't have an underlining always. I'm feeling like I'm threatened to have a sex trafficking case. It has to be. This is the particular threat versus, okay, you have to say, if you don't have this freak off, I'm going to do this. And they got her to say it in the redirect at the end, but she wouldn't say it the entire time. And I noticed that they took a break, they came back, and then they said, did you do the freak off when you landed in New York back from France? When you landed in New York, did you do the freak off because he threatened to put your videos out? And she said yes. She said it, that was like the last thing that she said after 5 days on the stand. And that just tells me, if I'm a juror, she didn't say it for 5 days. They try to get her to say, I did it specifically because he threatened me, or because he said he was gonna beat me, or because he beat me. After 5 days, they couldn't get her to say it until the last few minutes of her on the stand. And that tells me they called her back and said, you're gonna have to say this. For whatever reason, whatever they could say she's a co-conspirator, whatever. You're gonna have to say this, and she didn't want to say it the entire time, and that's why Diddy's lawyers never wanted her to keep meeting with the prosecution in between, because they knew that they were coaching her.
Yeah. So with the, and another thing, like RICO is a 10. This is my stance. A RICO is a 10-year statute of limitation. If you filed a RICO charge in 2024, you can't go back to anything before 2014. So that to me said, why do we care? I mean, for the sake of the law.
For the sake of the law, because we do care.
We do care
about people doing crimes.
Right, and that's why people was like, oh, you're dealing. Why do we care about Diddy, for the sake of the law, Diddy extorting Cass's mother in 2012, Kid Cudi's car being blown up, burglary, arson. That stuff happened outside. And then, I came one day and what day was it? I think it actually was the day, something about 2004. That was when Capricorn Clark came, and they said that Capricorn Clark can testify about something that happened, or somebody from 2004 when Diddy took her in the park. And then also the kidnapping. The judge said she can testify to this because it establishes a predicate act. And I'm like, it does not establish a predicate act. You, Judge, Your Honor, you are giving Diddy appealable issues right before your eyes.
Well, I think that that's what the defense has been doing secretly, like a lot of people don't realize.
Right.
They've been calling a lot of things into question so that if they lose, they can go and bring it to the appellate court. And another thing about the RICO, I know people keep saying that it's as simple as you can prove two predicate acts in the span of 10 years, and that's not as simple as it is. You actually have to have an enterprise. People just flash over that word, enterprise.
Right.
An organization.
Right.
An enterprise and organization has to have a common goal. What is the common goal here? To make Diddy happy? That's not enough.
Well, the common goal is like, I think when there's like, Capricorn Clark, you was working for Bad Boys, then you went to Combs, and then you went to Sean John, and they asked them, what was the difference in your jobs? And it was like nothing. It was always to serve Diddy.
Yes, but to serve Diddy is not a common goal of the enterprise. That's not enough. That's too broad. The common goal of the enterprise would have to be sex trafficking or drug corporation or fraud, bank fraud. Like there has to be an underlining criminal common goal. It can't be, just to serve me. That's not a common goal. That's called a regular business that you're just running a little bit corruptly. Like you have to have, that's what this charge was made for. So I think that it's going to come down to the judges, jury instructions. If he says to them, there has to be, you guys, if you're gonna do the RICO charge, it has to be two predicate acts that are serving a common purpose. Two predicate acts, at least, that are serving a common purpose, that is forwarding the enterprise for its purposes, for its goals. And the goal is not enough to say, to make Diddy happy. That's not RICO. And that's the problem. and this whole two predicate act, that law, what's the guy named Nate the lawyer? That guy to me is a clown because he keeps spreading misinformation, and a lot of people be telling me, watch Nate the lawyer, watch Nate the lawyer. He made a good video and he sounds like he knows what he's talking about, but he keeps saying all they have to do is prove two predicate acts, and it's RICO. That's not how it works. You have to prove two actual other elements. And I will tell you guys, for you guys that actually care about looking up this case law, I will tell you this case law right here.
We gotta go ahead, and after that we gotta wrap it up because we gotta get going. And I appreciate you. We gotta exchange contacts and do this more.
Yeah, 100%.
We do.
Y'all gotta look up this case law.
Are you gonna come here every day or no?
I will.
Okay.
Yeah. United States versus Turkett, 1981 precedents, and Boyle versus United States, 2009. Reinforced. So these both, I'm gonna read it just to summarize what they both say. Supreme Court held that the enterprise must operate as a unit with a purpose. Predicate crimes must serve the enterprise's affairs, whether the enterprise is legitimate or illegitimate. And the other one reinforced that while an enterprise can be informal, it must have a shared purpose, structure, and coordination beyond individual acts. This is not
individual
RICO.
action.
Exactly. This is not RICO.
This is a one-man RICO.
This is a one-man RICO. Don't make no sense.
And that's from the United States Supreme Court.
Exactly.
And you know, these lower courts, they could set forth as precedents, and Diddy can appeal it all the way to the Supreme Court to interpret that. And I'm glad you know Supreme Court law. Are you familiar with a case called Terry versus Ohio?
No, I'm not.
That's the case that basically started the stop and frisk. It's about a black man
in
Ohio.
Yes.
And he was like, you guys didn't read me my Miranda rights, and you guys improperly searched us. Despite the enactment of Miranda rights in, what was the case about improper searching? Because it was a black man, the Supreme Court didn't care. So do you feel like if he's convicted and go to the Supreme Court, they're gonna look at him like, this is a black man, I don't care, let's rule against him? Or do you think Donald Trump is just simply gonna pardon him? That's the last answer.
I hope that
if he's convicted.
I hope if he's convicted, Donald Trump doesn't pardon him. I really do. Because that's not actual real justice. That's doing somebody a favor. I want real justice. So I rather if he's wrongfully convicted, because the trial's not over yet.
Right.
I'm hoping that we get some more evidence to make this make sense to me, at least, because there's things here that are serious accusations. But if he's wrongfully convicted, I would rather it go through the appeal process to the Supreme Court and have it done that way, rather than Donald Trump just pardoning him, because that doesn't do anything for us black men that actually really want justice for ourselves.
That's absolutely amazing, man. I appreciate you. We got a link.
Absolutely,
where can we find you? The best way for my YouTube audience to get in touch with you?
Coach J Khan on Instagram. Coach J Khan on Instagram. COACHJAYKHAN on Instagram. All right, y'all. Appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you, buddy.
Have a good one, bro.
You in the overflow room, right?
Yeah.
And I will see you back in there, buddy.
I'll see you there, brother.
Yes.
Right.
We gonna see, bro. I like that, and I like that you're unbiased. You notice how he said that if he's wrongfully prosecuted and he needs more evidence, even though he's more leaning towards this is a black man, you can't do this, he's still being impartial and saying that if there's a conviction, he wants to make sure it's legit, opposed to just a kangaroo court against a black man. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you. This is what type